Tourism is a critical part of Cyprus's economy. It contributes 13% to the country's GDP. Nationals from the UK and Russia comprise 60% of the total inbound tourist arrivals onto the island. And it is here that the Cypriot government as well as Chamber of Commerce believe that India can play a critical partner in hospitality when it comes to this fast-growing sector.
In 2016 was a banner year for Cyprus Tourist Organization. Arrivals exceeded for the first time the 3 million mark, actually almost 3.2 million arrivals. And the projections for this year, 2017, are equally very good. In the first 3 months of the year, we had an increase of around 20%. We have a lot to offer for the Indian tourist in a small geographical place. Ancient ruins, beautiful scenery, cuisine, Cyprus hospitality. Everybody feels at home in Cyprus.
The tourism is a booming sector in Cyprus. That leads us to believe that there are opportunities in the hospitality sector. Our corporates, our companies can definitely look at either to have a greenfield hotel projects in Cyprus or to have the management of those hotels which are up for managerial skills transfer or ownership transfers in Cyprus.
Cyprus's economy has seen a remarkable turnaround from the depths of the financial crisis, and the tourism sector has had a huge role to play in that story. The number of inbound tourists onto the island in 2016 exceeded 3 million. That's a record. But the number of Indian tourists in that figure is still minuscule. The government of Cyprus is looking at ways to change that. And one of those ways could involve Bollywood.
We also see new opportunities like a film incentive scheme, for example, which we're working on at the moment, which we think may be of interest to Indian film producers. The idea is that it will offer a series of incentives, so things possibly like a cash rebate, some other tax incentives, but also making sure that the producers that come here are very happy with their experience, that they have a very smooth experience in every aspect, from importing their equipment and conducting their business in Cyprus to their stay. And that's what we're here for as Invest Cyprus. We hope to be able to help not just film producers but all investors in doing business.
Another area in which Cyprus is looking to collaborate with India is shipping. The sector contributes almost 7% to the island's economy. Cyprus is a major center for ship registration, fleet management and crewing services.
We are one of the largest ship management centers in the world. I do believe that we can offer, our companies can offer this kind of services to shipping companies in India. And of course, there can also be an exchange of expertise with the Indian registry to see how the relationship between the two countries can develop even further. We employ around 55, or our ships, the ships under our registry, they employ around 55,000 people. And also, we are one of the largest crewing services centers in the world. So basically, we could sort of develop this kind of cooperation in the sense that our companies could be convinced to employ more Indian seafarers. And I think there's a great potential there. Also, we have in Cyprus some maritime schools. And those maritime schools, they offer services for masters and for ship engineers. And of course, that's an area as well where we could attract Indian students to come and study in Cyprus.
I asked the minister about cost. How does Cyprus stack up when compared with global ship management service hubs like Singapore and Dubai?
Cyprus has a lot of expertise in shipping. We've been in shipping for many, many years in Cyprus. We're one of the most developed ship management centers, as I mentioned before. And I do believe that we can offer these services at very competitive rates compared to some of these centers. Also, Cyprus, of course, is in a different time zone. It's in a different part of the world. So somebody could have an office in Singapore and also have an office in Cyprus. So one does not exclude the other, of course. Having said that, the quality of the services we offer in Cyprus is of a very high standard. And as I said, on the matter of cost, I believe we can be very competitive.
How competitive?
Good question. I think this is up to the companies to investigate themselves. But if you think about it, Cyprus is much cheaper than some of these countries you mentioned before. I mean, for example, rentals and salaries in Cyprus are much lower.
Cyprus is pitching itself as a base for Indian ship management companies as well as ship owners. I asked the minister whether the idea would find takers given the revised tax regime between the two countries.
Actually, we are really happy, quite happy that we finalized the agreement, the changes in the agreement with India as well, India being such an important country in the world. I believe that in the medium to long term, Cyprus will benefit from this increase in transparency, as a lot of ship owners, a lot of business people will prefer to have their business in Cyprus, which is part of all these agreements, compared to some other centers that are not part of these agreements. And if they have their services there, they can be under much more scrutiny.
Another sector in Cyprus which could be of interest to wealthy Indians is real estate. The country encourages foreign investment and offers permanent residency as well as citizenship to those willing to make a commitment. An individual investing 300,000 euros in residential or commercial property can get permanent residency in Cyprus. That includes the right to stay in the country, buy shares in local companies and receive dividends, but it doesn't automatically guarantee a work permit. And then there is the scheme for citizenship, under which an individual needs to make an investment of at least 2 million euros in property, shares, bonds, or alternative investment funds, which in turn entitles him to become a citizen of Cyprus. An additional condition with this scheme is ownership of a house property worth at least 500,000 euros.
We have an increase in the sales of residential property, but we're also seeing a lot of positive developments in large-scale projects, and that is, for us as an investment agency, it's very important because that's where we see the big potential. For example, we have new marinas. We have the Limassol Marina that's already operating. We have the Ayanapa Marina that's now under construction. We have other tourism projects like the integrated casino resort that is being built in close to Limassol, and we believe that these projects are really going to boost the economy, because not only are they going to encourage other sort of large-scale projects, which we're already seeing, they're also going to have a knock-on effect with regards to the quality of services offered, and so enhance our touristic product.
While the government offers economic collaboration across sectors, what about the country's banking system, which plunged into crisis in 2012? Cyprus had hit global headlines back then as it struggled with a financial meltdown, which included a total wipeout of all individual bank deposits exceeding 100,000 euros.
Confidence is the key prerequisite for economic growth, and obviously an economy which has been able to move from a deep recession to being one of the fastest growing economies in the EU could only have happened in an environment of confidence and stability and safety for business and investment. If you ask me if all the problems of the recent economic downturn, if they're all behind us, either in the banking sector or in the real economy, no, they are not. And that's why we remain very committed in maintaining the effort. So both the banking sector has to tackle legacy issues, an excessive credit expansion, which happened in the past, will take time to smooth out. Unemployment will also require time to to drop fully to the pre-crisis levels. So not there yet, but getting there with a very strong pace.
How would you describe the Cyprus banking system now? Is it stable, and is there some certainty that perhaps the sort of measures that had to be taken with respect to deposits, that they will not be required in the near future?
Definitely, yes. It's a smaller banking sector, but one which is much healthier. It's well capitalized above the EU requirements and the EU average. We have seen a significant presence of foreign investors in the local banks, and this offers yet another signal of stability and confidence. So yes, I think we now have a smaller but much healthier, stable, safe banking sector, one which is already able to finance the needs of the economy.
Of course, India's banking system is dealing with its own woes, very different, but of course the NPA issues continue to be in the headlines even in India. So my final question, what do you think have been Cyprus's lessons from the crisis, the recovery, the fight back? What is it that you can share with people in terms of the lessons learned, dealing with the crisis and emerging stronger?
I would say that the main lesson is never to postpone difficult but the necessary decisions when it comes to the economy and the banking sector. So taking timely and decisive action, not hesitating to decide on difficult but necessary reforms is actually the key to ensuring that, first of all, no economy is led into a difficult predicament on the one hand, but also establishing that the economy will be safely and sustainably on a path of growth, and that's exactly what we aim to create conditions for sustainable growth in the long term.
The economy of Cyprus has seen a remarkable turnaround from the depths of the financial crisis. The banking system is healing, and the country seems to be setting its house in order with respect to international taxation. The message from the government is loud and clear. Don't think of us as a mere tax haven. We're open for business and are looking for real, deep, meaningful partnerships. Can India leverage its traditionally close, strong ties with this Mediterranean island and establish that new, deeper, more meaningful economic partnership? Well, time and the upcoming state presidential visit to India will definitely have some answers. In Nicosia, Cyprus, Surabhi Upadhyay, CNBC TV 18.